If you came across this, it wasn't by accident. You've been carrying a frequency that no longer serves you. You feel it in your chest upon waking, that old pressure arriving before the thoughts. Here's what no one told you. You're not facing theory. You're in a live game. You are in superposition. Versions of you coexist. And the one that collapses here depends on the quality of your observation, the type of awareness you sustain, and the consciousness you choose to light the now with. Every version of you exists simultaneously, and the one that becomes tangible responds to how you look, breathe, and name the moment. The old frequency collapses when you change the angle of attention, not through empty belief, but through direct practice, through the simple recognition of what has always been here. The observer changes the observed. The scene reorganizes when your presence shifts place. And here's the promise. By the end of this video, with practice, the old frequency won't just change. It will lose traction until it no longer exists as the dominant habit, making room for the new that's always called you. 3 years ago, I woke up and something wasn't where it had always been. The anxiety that followed me, the shallow breath, the body on alert, vanished like a station that no longer tunes in. My nervous system didn't recognize it as mine, not because I fought it, but because I altered the only variable that truly defines experience: observation, recognition. What I called me was only an old frequency, and the collapse came naturally when consciousness stopped feeding it. What you're about to learn isn't spiritual fluff, it's the operational gap. In the first 90 seconds after waking, breath, posture, and presence form your practical lever. 3 adjustments, 3 impacts, 1 collapse. Most people let the mind speak first, and in that automatic permission, they recreate yesterday. You've been a radio on the same station for years. Your emotional antenna keeps repeating the same script. But now, you're going to turn the dial, with awareness in the body, not in the head. You've been seeking answers in the mind, right? Except the body is what's broadcasting the frequency that locks your day. Every tension, every micro-contraction, every rounded shoulder projects the old self onto the screen of reality. Change how you observe and the body's form follows. Change the body's form and observation clarifies. In minutes, you'll notice signs of recognition coming from the field. And this is where the hook in our path is born. When the universe confirms yourself collapsed the frequency. You start noticing time doesn't move in a straight line anymore. Moments stretch and fold, like waves meeting themselves in the sea. What once felt like tomorrow and yesterday now blur into one vast field of awareness, where consciousness begins to loosen its grip on the clock and flow instead into a rhythm you can't control but can deeply feel. Between those moments, life starts to split in two. One version of you still clings to the old world of predictability, control, and plans. The other feels the silent intelligence of the new, a current that moves not by logic but by trust. I remember when that shift first hit me. I'd stare at my to-do list and feel an ache, as if some part of me simply didn't fit inside that structure anymore. Then your thoughts begin to quiet down. The constant chatter softens, replaced by flashes of intuitive recognition that feel more real than reasoning ever did. You'll find yourself knowing things without knowing how, sensing who will call before the phone rings, watching patterns connect like constellations in your own mind. That's how consciousness starts to speak, through symbols, through synchronicities, through fluid whispers that bypass linear thought. The body responds too. You might sleep in strange cycles, wake up with energy like lightning one day and rivers the next. Sometimes food won't taste the same. Even simple routines begin to feel too small, too old. When this happened to me, I started walking at sunrise without checking the clock, letting my breath guide where my feet wanted to go, because control belonged to the past, and flow was the new intelligence of the present. And when synchronicities start multiplying, it's not random. It's life learning a new language of communication. Numbers, songs, timing, strangers speaking the words you needed, all that becomes your conversation with the field. That's when you realize collapse isn't destruction. It's perception being updated. But what comes after this realization? Well, that's when things start to rewrite themselves in ways you'll hardly believe. The next part will surprise you. Old pains stop being dead weight and start looking like maps you didn't know how to read. guiding you toward precise recognition of where your awareness needed to grow roots. What once felt pointless now reveals an intelligent choreography, a quiet consciousness stitching meaning through every detour. You don't erase the past. You let it speak in a new dialect that finally lands. Those dark nights weren't punishments. They were tunnels dug by light from the other side, shaping space for a new you to breathe. Confusion was compost, not failure, breaking down the old so the soil could feed what wanted to bloom. When you reframe it this way, your nervous system stops bracing and begins listening for subtler instructions a linear mind couldn't catch. Losses become portals when you walk back through them with fresh awareness and ask, what was this training me for? A relationship that ended now shows the pattern you needed to outgrow, the boundary you needed to honor, the value you needed to embody. Try this. Write 3 old losses, then name the one skill, one value, and one ally each loss secretly delivered. Watch recognition dawn. Collapse doesn't destroy. It reorganizes the furniture of meaning so the room finally fits who you've become. The same memories sit in new places, the same faces carry new light, and the same choices feel different in your hands. If you want to feel it in practice, revisit a painful email, highlight only the gifts embedded within it, and notice how consciousness shifts from defense to design. Here's a simple ritual. Once a week, pick one old scene and rewrite it from your current awareness, not to deny what happened, but to reveal the intelligence that was hidden. Speak it out loud while you breathe slow. Then take one small action that honors the lesson. Send gratitude, set a boundary, or build the skill. What comes next will surprise you. The field loves a brave editor, and the next secret to be revealed will change how you walk into tomorrow. It happened on a Tuesday I almost canceled. One of those old control days where your head argues and your awareness just sighs. I walked into a tiny cafe I'd never visited, sat down, and a song from a childhood summer started playing like a private knock from consciousness. New air in the lungs, old meaning in the room, and a strange recognition. The script had quietly changed. I'd been asking for a sign that the old narrative had finally dropped, that the new frequency wasn't just wishful thinking. The barista misheard my name and wrote a word I'd been journaling for weeks, the exact phrase that had kept appearing in dreams. Little things, sure, but layered, like the universe arranging breadcrumbs to make awareness undeniable. Then came the coincidence that shouldn't have aligned but did. An email pinged from a long-lost mentor at the same minute a stranger at the next table mentioned a book title I'd underlined that morning. Not dramatic, just impossibly precise. All vectors pointing to the same recognition. Consciousness was in conversation, not theory. The old felt heavy. The new felt weightless and obvious. I tested it, because that's what an old self does. If this is real, let the next step be plain. Within an hour, an invitation arrived to speak on a topic I'd only just decided to claim, like the field responding to a quiet yes. I didn't push. I listened. And listening became a pathway where effort used to be a barricade, awareness leading movement without strain. Here's what sealed it. The story I couldn't sustain finally collapsed when I met someone who mirrored back the exact sentence I'd written to myself that dawn. No prompting, no fishing, just clean resonance. In that moment, the new didn't fight the old. It rendered it unnecessary. If you think that's the end, think again. The next chapter is where maintenance turns into recognition, and what comes next will surprise you. You don't maintain a state. You relax into recognition, the way a lake settles when the wind stops. Effort is the old currency. Awareness is the new circulation that makes consciousness obvious again. When the urge to fix flares, whisper, nothing to fix, only to feel, and notice how the nervous system softens back into space. Start with one friendly move. Notice the impulse to control, then smile at it like an old friend passing through town. That tiny smile is a signal to your body that you're safe, and safety lets awareness widen without a fight. Try a 3-minute reset. 1 minute noticing, 1 minute breathing, 1 minute expanding attention. Simple, light, repeatable recognition. Create micro moments of gratitude without a goal, just to touch the living thread of now. 3 breaths with your first sip of coffee, palm on heart at a red light, a gentle, thank you to your feet before you stand. These playful stitches make the fabric strong. They upgrade the baseline quietly like new code running beneath an old interface. Keep the body in quiet places and the heart in curiosity. A slow walk with soft eyes, phone left behind, letting color and sound arrive without commentary. When restlessness knocks, give it tea, name it, feel it, let it pass, and watch how consciousness remains, unbothered, like sky outliving every weather pattern. Remember, return isn't an achievement, it's your default showing its face. The more you stop trying to hold it, the more it holds you. Effort was the old religion. Keep it simple, keep it kind, and you'll notice reality meeting you halfway again and again. What comes next will surprise you. The new stability doesn't shout, it resonates. Collapse isn't an ending. It's the blueprint revealing itself, a new order without the old need for contrast. You notice reality responding almost instantly, not as a prize for effort, but as a mirror to your clean awareness. What shows up outside is simply consciousness recognizing itself, like an echo that doesn't travel because there was never any distance. Confirmation from the universe stops feeling mystical and starts feeling obvious. You think with your whole body now, less noise, more recognition, and movement emerges from quiet instead of pressure. Try this. Set a single, unambiguous intention in the morning, then drop it. Watch how the day arranges around it when you don't chase. Here's the insight under the insight. There were never two of you, only awareness appearing as old and new costumes. When the split dissolves, decisions are lighter because they aren't negotiations. They're expressions. Practice this at work. Choose the next action by feel, not fear, and measure by inner clarity rather than outer applause. Stability now is fluid. It's the steadiness of a river that never shows the same water twice, but never forgets its direction. You'll notice fewer tries and more inevitables, like doors opening at the right knock, emails landing at the right hour, support arriving on time, the field echoing recognition faster than thought can compute. And the cycle keeps expanding. Not because the self gets bigger, but because the need to protect the old identity gets smaller. You don't justify, you just move, you listen, you refine. This is where new becomes your baseline, and old becomes a story you no longer rehearse. What comes next will surprise you. In 2 minutes, the title you're about to hear will hand you the key that changes everything. The crossing is simple and vast. The old self was only a temporary function of consciousness, a costume that served until recognition made it unnecessary. What stabilizes now isn't a shiny new version. It's the remembrance of what's always been here, steady beneath the noise. The universe's confirmation is only the echo of your present vibration, reality reflecting your unclenched awareness without delay. Let the quiet do the speaking now. Feel the space where the old narrative used to hum, and notice how its absence has weight, like silence after a storm. Seal it below. Write your ritual line so the field can mirror it back. Old self died. The old self is dead. If this video found you, it's because something in you has already awakened. Subscribe and activate notifications to keep opening the next doors with us. And as a final whisper for your horizon, when the veil falls, your old self is dying.